Oh, have no more water. Doing me the sad.
She is probably a feminist. I know, a crazy one, but she's probably a feminist.
Okay.
Ideals. Hates
DM.
patriarchy.
Imagine just making a character that's like as angry at everything as possible. Just like make them a feminist, make them a vegan, make them what are other things that would offend people? Make them a Republican? No. Liberal? I don't know.
A vegan Republican? Oh,
I don't know what I'm...
She, all about balance, like balance of life, balance of nature, balance of everything.
Gotcha. Well, that plays in well with this campaign world.
Oh, I like it already. Bonds. She hasn't made any bonds yet. Her flaws, scared of... Ooh, something just like completely random. Like something that's just like really odd to be scared of, but she's scared of it. Like me, I'm scared of geese.
Scared of geese?
Geese are evil.
Oh, they are, that's true. Keep in mind that whatever you fear can and will be used against you.
Yeah, I know.
Which makes it fun sometimes.
Okay, so you play D&D, you know what's something that would be really weird to be scared of, but could totally pop heads, and, create an obstacle for her?
What's something that is totally innocuous, but could be scary?
Big word, yes.
Well, you could be terrified of, like, general inanimate objects that you have to interact with frequently, because there are creatures in D&D called mimics. Mimics are creatures that basically, like, they take the form of something that people go towards a lot, like a chest of treasure or a door, and then they lie in wait, and when someone tries to interact with them, then boom, they try to eat the person. Maybe she's had a bad experience and she's like, could this be a mimic? I don't know. So, what if she's like really terrified of microwaves? She tried to go to a microwave her burrito.
Wait, are there
and just
microwaves in this D&D?
This particular D&D world is a bit more advanced than most D&D worlds. This one has like a mix of like magical technology. It hasn't gotten to the point where everyone and their brother has like a flying car or anything. It's not like that far advanced. It's just like there's some technology. Imagine this world as like medieval D&D world, but also magic has kind of progressed to a certain degree. But this is like still kind of in the or like maybe just beginning of Industrial Revolution kind of era, so it's not like...
So we're talking like 1920s.
Not even like quite that far. This is more like technology. There are some things that are being invented with like magical power, so like crystal technology is being used to create some really powerful and cool effects, but at the same time, like, the government's like, hey, this crystal technology is kind of scary, we gotta make sure we put, like, limits on it and just be careful with what's going on.
Right.
Oh, this is weird. You can still see my mouth moving.
She's scared of bears.
Bears?
Bears.
Well, do you think you're about ready for a bit of improv D&D?
Do you have one of those things that rolls the dice, like simulator thingies?
Yeah. Oh, there's actually an app for that as well, if you'd like. Or you can just use a random number.
Between apps. That's so much work.
That is true. I can roll for you if you'd like and tell you what I got.
I trust you on this, so you better not screw this up for me.
I won't. I don't lie with rolling dice. So do you know anything about D&D?
Not really much. I know there's a lot of role-playing and, rolling chances.
It's just telling a story, and then occasionally there are dice rolled to see if the story takes an unexpected turn. Give me a quick intro to your character, just to recap, and tell me anything new that you might have decided.
So, Chrysanthemum is a rogue wood elf, young adult, probably like, let's say she's like 142. Yeah.
142.
Let me put that down. She's the oldest sibling, so she's definitely like got like that protective personality that typical older siblings have. She hates the patriarchy and she's scared of bears.
She's scared of bears. Okay. Alright, so welcome, Chrysanthemum, to the world of Dungeons and Dragons. This particular world is kind of in turmoil at this point. There has been a long-standing war that lasted for many years between the paladins, who are, usually considered to be the good guys, quote unquote, but that's debatable, and the magistrate, which is usually considered to be the bad guys, but that's also debatable. These two factions have been fighting each other for quite a long time, until their war was interrupted by a unexpected evil creature, or evil entity, that kind of disrupted the world. Very powerful, very difficult to deal with. It basically was just known as the Darkness, and it started to, mess with both sides of the world and kind of envelop everything, trying to corrupt it with evil, darkness, bad stuff. So this darkness was spreading across the land and doing all kinds of terrible things, when suddenly it vanished, and no one really exactly knew what happened to it. Some say it was vanquished, no one really knows. But what we do know is there is a section of the world. Oh, I'm gonna need to send it from my other computer. I'm so prepared. With this thing that I prepared literally seconds ago. There is a large purple section of the world. That is where there once was a town called Ceres, but then that town began to get absorbed and corrupted by a giant evil portal that was beginning to widen and spread the influence of the Abyss, a horrible lens that was probably associated with that darkness of evil stuff. And basically this is just a spreading land of corruption and evil bad stuff that keeps coming out of this portal and this ruined city, and spreading out into the rest of the good lands. So people, the magistrate and paladins, kind of ended their war, had to put aside their differences, and now that whole situation has kind of resolved itself. All that began about 50 years ago, and now the Abyss has been expanding its territory more and more as time has gone on, and lots of horrible monstrosities, unnatural aberrations, and disgusting creatures have been crawling their way out of the depths of this place and trying to find their way into more and more of the civilized world. So obviously people are in a bit of a panic about this, and they're attempting to fight back in whatever ways they can. You, Chrysanthemum, happen to be closer to where Autumn Fields and Bloodstone Hold are on that map, which is towards the bottom right. So you're a bit far away from the main front lines of this horrible war, but this obviously is a great big old chunk out of the natural order of things, quote unquote. So I'm sure your character would be desperately hating this encroaching darkness. Your character has been wandering the landscape trying to defend towns in this area from monsters that have been approaching, because every once in a while you never know when a horrible sky kraken might come out of the darkness and attack a town or something. So you've been doing your best to defend people that need it and that kind of thing.
These people are in need. They're getting attacked. They're like, help me. I'm like, I got you.
Alright, well, I believe we'll begin our story with you in Bloodstone Hold. Now, just earlier today, there was a large, horrendous noise, just like a and a collapsing building sound in the distance, and a giant plume of shattered stone and dust flew into the sky nearby you, maybe a mile away, so you obviously were curious about it, and you decided to go over and check it out. By the time you got there, it turned out that there was one of these monsters that had already been slain. You wandered in, and this is basically what remains of a city that has been long since destroyed, messed up in many ways, and turned into a military base. So there are probably about 100, maybe 200 soldiers of the new unified order that's kind of trying to resist the darkness stuff if possible. You find those people in this city, and this is all summary stuff. We'll get into more detailed stuff as we begin to drop you into the location. Let's just say it's about 6 p.m. You're wandering into the ruined walls of the city. Behind you, there is a dirt road leading deeper into the forest that you just came from. There's trees on either side. You're still coming towards where there's just the faintest remains of this dust cloud and smoke cloud leading into the sky. And in the sky you can see the lovely Aurora Borealis along with a couple of moons. One of them seems to be shattered. And on either side of you stands the edges of a large gate that goes maybe 40 feet up in the air and extends 10 feet on either side of you. It's cracked in some places, the giant doorway, and there is no door anymore. Seems like this giant stone archway made of white stone once had a giant pair of wooden doors with iron reinforcements, but now they have long since been yanked off their hinges or smashed in some way, and they no longer exist. The wall extending all the way around the city, it's a circular wall, seems to be pockmarked with many smashed portions or collapsed areas, so definitely looks like there have been a lot of altercations, wars, battles, who knows what happened here. But yeah, this place has some history. Ahead of you, in the gateway to the large door, you can see into the major area of the city. Also, the buildings seem to be made of white stone, but they're all caked in like deep rust, mud, grime, and general decay. So like a bunch of rotting wood. Basically, it looks like most of the buildings are no longer intact. There are collapsed roofs everywhere, buildings that are barely standing. It's generally just a ruined town.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the situation. There's rubble laying across the cobblestone streets, and there appear to be several soldiers farther down the main street ahead of you that are on patrol, walking by. They haven't seemed to notice you yet, because you tend to stick to the shadows as a rogue. They are wearing what once was magistrate armor, but now is a bit old, dented up, and has had like the markings of the magistrate yanked off. So it's just kind of reused armor that they had lying around, but no longer is associated with the magistrate. What would you like to do?
Well, I guess since they're walking toward me, I guess I could just, approach them, in a non-threatening manner,
Okay,
and ask them like what happened and what they're doing there. I guess.
Okay. As you walk into the doorway and begin coming down the street towards them, the two guards kind of put their hands to their swords and they go, "Halt! Who are you?"
Oh, do I say something?
You can respond in character if you'd like, or you can just talk about like what you'd like your character to say. Sorry for giving like way too much character or like world information before I got into your actual character. By the way, I didn't mean to overload you. Okay.
Okay.
just giving you information about the state of the world so things will make sense when they speak.
She throw her hands up in the air like oh, like, hey, I'm a cool dude. Like, I'm Chrysanthemum. I just was walking around. I saw the smoke and stuff in the sky, and I'm just here to check out what's happening.
Oh, I see. Are you another local?
No, I'm just a traveler. I'm not from the.
Well, welcome to Bloodstone Hold, or what's left of it, I suppose. We are the... I forgot their name. They had an order. I don't have it readily available on my notes, but just pretend that they give like a cool sounding name for their order of defense. Let's just call them the Dark Watch. That actually sounded cooler than I expected. We are called the Dark Watch. We've been guarding this city because there have been numerous infractions of horrible monsters from the abyss coming by and attacking this place for whatever reason. It's our job to defend it and the surrounding towns from any creatures that might come lurking. Well, you missed the commotion by a couple of hours now. What happened was there was another one of the aberrations, of course. It pulled down our main watchtower with a giant evil tentacle of doom or something. A few of our men died, and, well, a few more died after that due to the actual monster attacking, but another band of adventurers managed to take out the creature, I suppose. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it's no longer around, and that's what matters. And now we're attempting to pick up the pieces.
Interesting. Band of adventurers.
Mm-hmm.
Anything I could do to help assist y'all? Like, maybe I travel around and I usually fight off the creatures of the abyss, and, just as a solo thing. But if there's anything I can do to help, let me know, and I'll be able to help. Anything y'all need now?
Well, as we said, we just had our main watchtower collapse, and we're still digging through the rubble to see if there are any survivors left. If you'd like to come help us with that, you're more than welcome. We can't offer you any supplies or anything really. We don't have quite a lot of shovels, but you're more than welcome to help if you'd like.
Okay, she helps.
All right. So one of the soldiers says, "All right, you keep watch. I'll lead this lady back." They seem to be rather trusting of you. People who are human-shaped and human-looking seem to be generally trustworthy, apparently, for these guys. It seems like they've had a really long day, and like I said, it's like 7 p.m. right now, so they're not exactly in the mood to like be super vigilant and stab anything that moves or whatever. So they're just like, if you can help, that'd be great. And one of them says to keep doing the watch that they were doing, and the other one decides to begin leading you towards the center of the city along the main street, if you'd like to follow him. Alright, so as you begin walking, he leads you through the ruined city. There are large buildings on either side of the street that seem to have been long since smashed and covered in like dirt and dust, and the rain seems to have pushed these like red colored dust into the cracks of the stone, giving it like a blood stained look, thus the name Bloodstone Hold. It once was called Whitestone Hold, but that was long ago in an age that few remember in this time of war. As you're walking through this town, kicking rubble and giant rocks as you're going, the soldier kind of turns to you. He's about 20, it looks like. He's a human. He's got just standard armor and a single sword. Doesn't look like he has much in terms of like possessions. And he turns to you and he's like, "So, what's your name?"
Chrysanthemum, but people just call me Chrissy or Chris.
Nice. I'm Thomas. Nice to meet you.
Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, people complain that I go by my Thomas instead of Tom, but we have another guy in our patrol who is named Tom. Well, up until today, it seems that Tom was killed in the battle earlier today. So we're all a bit shaken up about that.
That's unfortunate. Well, maybe now you can be called Tom.
I could, but I could
In
never
his
live
honor,
up.
perhaps.
I suppose. We've also had Tom's friend, Samuel, take up the new position as leader. So we're all in a bit of disarray and, you know, shock at the happenings in this particular town.
Yeah, I can tell it was quite chaotic. Hopefully my assistance will perhaps bring y'all some relief and, you know, give you time to, you know, cool down a bit.
That's true. I mean, we certainly haven't had a lady in our midst for a few weeks, so
Don't give me ideas.
I'm just saying.
Don't even.
I'm sorry.
No,
we don't see many women in this line of work. Or not necessarily the line of work, but I suppose this particular town. And he's like backpedaling, just trying to...
Okay, yes, a woman with a sword. A little intimidating, is it? Shake your boots.
That's not what I meant. I meant no offense, and he seems to be turning red a little bit.
Right, okay. Anyways, how long until we get to this tower?
Well, you should know it by the smell. And he keeps walking forward.
Oh, I thought that was just your body odor.
Oh, okay. You've got me there, and it looks like he's pretty grimy and messy, so it's doubtful that he's taken a bath or shower in a few days. So as you guys continue walking forward... Oh, sorry, if you wanted to say something else, you're more than welcome.
Oh, no, I just think it's funny. I love her already.
So as you're walking closer towards where you would assume that the watchtower once stood, you're getting like towards the center of the entire town. It takes you quite a while to get there because this town is quite large, but and of course the terrain is not exactly as forgiving as it once was. Looks like it was once a paved like cobblestone kind of street, but now it's just kind of a wreck, and you're at risk of twisting an ankle every time you walk from one place to another. But it's not too difficult to go if you're going at a reasonable pace. So you guys reach the area, and as you're walking there, you smell the distinct smell of like burning and just like dust in the air, and it's just kind of not a pleasant smell to be around. Almost as though like flesh was burning here at some point recently. And
Wow.
yeah. So you approach the area, and as you're walking up, you definitely encounter, or you can see from a distance, maybe 30 or 40 other soldiers walking around in similar armor. Some of them have chainmail, some of them have plate mail, but generally they're just kind of like in whatever they could pick up. And they're walking around. Most of them are armed with swords. A couple of them have guns, just like standard rifle things, but nothing like magical crystal powered or whatever. They're just kind of walking around patrolling, and but the majority of them seem to be actually like trying to dig around in a giant crater that opens up in front of you. Imagine as you're walking across the street that's like mostly stone, suddenly the stone just like cracks away, and there's a giant circular crater in the middle of the ground. and
Okay.
it descends like 200 feet down into like a steep incline of mostly dirt and rubble, stone rubble, along the sides of this pit. Seems like there's pockets where it had like little collapses and possible cave-ins or something. But the most odd thing about this whole feature with like giant rocks and stuff of what once was a watchtower apparently is that there is a giant forest that has sprung up magically from the center of this, and it looks like each of the trees are really thick around the middle as though they'd been there for maybe 30, 50 years or something. So there are probably about like 50 full-size giant oak trees just grown in the middle of this crater that presumably has only been existing for a couple hours. Yeah, exactly. They extend probably almost to the top of the crater, so they're probably, the tops of the trees are about at eye level with you. So Thomas leads you to the edge of the crater, looks down and sees where some of the men at the bottom are like desperately trying to like use the trees and some rope, wrapping the rope.
About the trees, are they just like casual, regular old oak trees?
Yeah, as far as you can tell, these trees look normal. They're maybe, you can still tell that they're growing just a little bit. Like you can see that they're growing.
At an abnormal rate?
No, they're still growing, like as though they were created by some magical effect, and they're still growing a little bit fast. But definitely seems like it's slowed down and it's almost completed or something. And at the bottom of the pit, there are some soldiers at the bottom trying desperately to like wrap ropes around the trees and use them as leverage to like lift heavy stones and move things out of the way so that they can rescue any trapped survivors below. So yeah, that's the situation ahead of you. What would you like to do? Thomas just kind of gestures to the mess and he goes, "And here we are. This is where we've been working for the past hour." Also, there are a couple soldiers off to your right, hidden among some of the buildings, in a small little courtyard with like a overturned cherry blossom tree, and they seem to be burying someone, or so maybe several people.
Where do y'all need assistance most? Here at the pit or burying your soldiers?
Probably the pit would be the biggest place where we need help.
All right, and what's the procedure y'all are doing right now? You know, just going down there and see if anyone's there?
Well, we're trying to figure out if there are people down there, because we had at least about 30 soldiers that were in the watchtower. That's kind of what our base of operations was. They were in the tower at the time of the, well, attack. And then we don't know where they are. I mean, some of them are maybe still buried, but we're just doing our best to figure it out. We found only one person buried under the rubble so far, but we have to check. So, I don't know. It's more the principle of the thing. No man left behind, you know that. If you have any magic or anything that could check if there are people living underneath the rubble, that would be great. It seems like these guys mostly don't have very many magical artifacts or anything as well. These particular guys seem to just be dealing with what they have, which is pretty standard equipment. No sign of like magical tools or anything.
You know, climb down there and help them look for people.
Yeah,
Since she can also see in the dark really well.
Yeah, that would definitely be helpful. As in that case,
she'll say, since I'm a wood elf, I have, you know, really good, you know, vision in the dark, so I can go down there and help y'all look for people.
Thomas kind of like, his eyes like flash for a bit, or for a moment, and he's just like, "Oh wow, that actually would be extremely helpful, especially considering it's almost nightfall, and you could imagine it would be difficult for them using torches or lanterns or whatever they have, especially at the bottom of that pit with trees above it." They do have like a small trench that they seem to have been digging into the side of the dirt in order to like get up and down easily. So it's like kind of a spiral. You know how they have in quarries? That goes down. It looks like they've kind of like dug out a little pathway and like packed it down as much as they could as they're gone spiraling around the crater. But you could also just, if you wanted to like scoot your way along this steep incline, you could also just scoot your way along and do a dexterity check to make sure you don't fall on your face.
Yeah, because I was thinking she could just, well, if the trees are poking out, she could probably just use the trees to climb down since she has really good dexterity and acrobatic skills.
I mean, yeah, that's also true, of course. You're currently like eye level with the very tallest point of the tree, which is like very small branches, so you'd have to like slide all the way down the.
Oak doesn't go all the way. The branches don't go. So yeah, I'll just use the path that they give.
Okie doke. So yeah, you make your way to the bottom of the pit. It takes only like a minute or less. Thomas decides that he's just gonna leave you to it because he needs to go back to his patrol. Is that okay?
He's a big baby.
Well, he's like, well, just go down there and explain to them that you're willing to help. I need to go back to my patrol to make sure that my buddy doesn't, die alone in the dark. That'd be
Fair enough.
pretty poop, but yeah. Good luck. Have a good night, Chrissy. Well,
Chrissy.
I'll try to remember that for the future. Thanks.
Right.
See you
Don't
later. Woo. And then he begins walking back the way he came.
Oh, I bet he gets all the girls.
Well, apparently they don't have any girls here. I'm panicking because I don't have very many notes. What?
That's probably as realistic, to be honest, because it's just a bunch of dudes having to watch over things, getting attacked.
Yeah.
They're in a town with literally no people.
I mean,
There's
yeah,
no
it's
pretty women.
definitely a ruined town, and it's just more of a military hold at this point. So only people who volunteer to fight giant, spooky, horrifying monsters really are here, to be honest. There don't seem to be any people really on, guard duty on this ramp as you're going down, and most of the people at the bottom seem to be just either working hard or surveying and taking a breather. There are a couple people who are holding small lanterns, like little hooded lanterns, shining light down, because it does get a little bit darker as you get underneath the tree cover, especially considering there are shade from the buildings above, and then there's a giant crater, and then there's trees above, so it's already kind of dim at the bottom of this, and now it's beginning to, you're beginning to run out of sunlight.
Right.
Yeah, and at the bottom there are maybe 10-15 people that are currently working, but they seem to be quite exhausted already. Currently, it seems like the majority of them are trying to lift a giant piece of stone that's maybe 15 feet in one dimension and 10 feet in another, and they're trying to lift it kind of upward to lean it against a tree. They're using a rope spread across, or actually 3 or 4 ropes stretched between 2 other trees, and they're trying to slowly cinch them up using a series of
pulleys
that are attached to a couple other trees, and they're just heaving and trying to make sure that it doesn't break the ropes and also doesn't crush anyone if it accidentally falls. So they're not really paying you any mind. Most of them are kind of paying attention to the giant rock and being like, heave ho. So you reach to the bottom, and you're kind of standing behind a couple of the overseers. What would you like to do now?
Ask who's in charge.
Okay. So just behind one of them. How loud do you make this? Is it just a regular who's in charge, or is it who's in charge here? I want to.
It's probably tap some guy on the shoulder and be like, hey, who's in charge here?
Okay, he whirls.
A little aggressive, but not too aggressive.
Okay.
That seems threatening.
Yeah, this guy who had his arms crossed and he was kind of looking down, just goes, who the devil are you?
Chrysanthemum, Chrissy. Thomas sent me down here. I was walking by, and I walked here because I saw the smoke in the air, and so I offered my assistance, and he told me to come down here and help. Because I'm a widow elf, so I can see in the dark. Maybe
he's not useless after all. Well, we appreciate your help, I suppose. We will have a few torches down here. If you wouldn't mind, you could head back up and grab us some more, or I could have one of my boys do it, but we're currently trying to lift a big rock, so yeah.
Perhaps it'll be easier on one of your boys to go up there and get it, and I'll help with the rocks, since they seem pretty exhausted as it is.
Well, you have a good point. Well, thank you for coming down here to help. The name's Samuel, by the way. I'm in charge now.
Chrysanthemum. See? So I guess Chrissy will find whichever guy looks like the most exhausted and switch places with him. She'll grab the rope, and then he'll let go.
Alright. So currently the giant slab of rock is maybe a foot off the ground at an angle, and they haven't made very much progress yet in terms of lifting up this one. Seems like they've already moved several other boulders and rocks out of the way, but this is kind of one of the biggest ones here. So they haven't managed to lift it very high yet. If you'd like to take their place pulling on the rope, the guy is very pleased to be relieved, and he hands you his spot on the rope. As soon as you take it, you immediately have a giant tug on it. Roll me a strength check, and we'll see how well you manage to pull and hold on to it. We'll see what happens. That's a 3. Okay, well, we'll say that as the guy's kind of handing you the rope, you didn't quite expect it to yank that much, and it gets yanked completely out of your hands, and everyone kind of like a giant tug of war. They like step forward and they're desperately trying to hold on. You're welcome to try to grab the rope again, though, and it seems like the entire thing just kind of you smell just like the very faintest smell of like the rope. Like rope burn kind of as it rubs against the many contact points of pulleys and trees and all that kind of thing, and everyone just kind of for a moment.
I guess I'll lunge for the rope that I let go and grab it.
All right,
start pulling on it again.
Yeah, roll me dex to grab it quickly with fast reflexes, which is dexterity. I guess that's me rolling again. What's your dexterity modifier?
I have +4 on dexterity.
Nice, and I rolled a 15, so that's a 19 total. Very good. You snatch that rope and you're like, nope, stop. You stop right there.
Snatch it like a weave. Snatch it like a weave.
All right, so you get your place in line and you join the pull. All of them just seem to be grunting, and they're not really that talkative. Nobody, if they do notice that you're joining and taking this guy's place, no one seems to really be able to talk about it or say anything. Meanwhile, the guy you relieved is talking to Samuel, who tells him to go up and fetch some more torches / lanterns / candles / whatever they can find. Roll me another strength just to see how well we can pull this thing up among the group, and I will roll for the guys as well. So your strength is +0 again, right?
Yeah.
All right.
No, don't make that face. Don't make that face. No.
I'll roll for the other guys too and see if they get.
Don't make that face.
All of you are terrible.
No.
I got a 2 +0 for you, and then they got a 6. So everyone just kind of is like pulling, and then the thing just lowers back down on the ground, and like you can feel the ground rumble a little bit just from the sheer mass of this giant thing hitting the ground again, and they all just kind of release the rope for a moment and go, oh my gosh. And then roll me perception as everyone's kind of like taking a moment to stretch and like stretch their muscles, and oh my goodness, and doing the typical.
I have a +2 on perception.
Okie doke, sounds good. It seems like this is not the first time that this thing has hit the ground once again after their best efforts to lift it up. Seems like it's quite a difficult. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So, have I told you anything about like critical successes or critical failures yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I got a natural 1 on your perception. I hate the die.
Worst dice roller ever.
I'm sorry. Okay, we're gonna take this die and put it in timeout and start using a different die, because clearly that die just hates us.
Clearly.
I was asking you to roll perception just to see generally like if you could hear a specific thing, but now apparently as everyone kind of like just drops the rope, and one guy kind of turns around and bonks you in the ear, and you're just like, and you have like a ringing in your ear. You can't hear whatever it was that I wanted you to maybe hear. So that's fun.
This little turd hit me.
Yeah. So this guy is like maybe 45 or something. He's got like a salt and pepper beard and like brown hair, and he's just like, I'm sorry, miss. I'm terribly sorry. What you doing down here?
I came down here to help, but if it's my help is not welcome, I will happily leave.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. We're all tired, and it's a bit difficult to do things. A bit clumsy after the whole long day. You know how it is, right? So what brings you to this town, this whole place that we're in?
I saw the smoke from miles away, and I decided to come check it out and offer my assistance, but I'm not exactly the strongest individual when it comes to brute strength. I probably should have thought that one through a little better. I just was so ready to jump in and help with y'all on this one.
Seems like neither are we.
That didn't really get me far.
Yeah, well, that's mighty fine of you to offer your assistance in this. We've certainly had our share of misfortunes for the day, but at least we've gotten one guy out of the rubble. We're hoping that there's more survivors down here, but I personally don't have high hopes.
No, you can't give up hope. You gotta, hope at least a few more alive.
Yeah, that's true. We had a total of 30 that were missing. We've only found one alive, and found, I think if the count is right, 10 that were dead at this point. So yeah, not
One is
not
better than
good
none.
odds. Yeah, that's a good point. He's certainly battered up pretty badly though. He's in the infirmary right now trying to rest up. Um,
Shouldn't they rotate y'all out? All of you guys down here seem pretty exhausted.
well, yeah, but tell that to Samuel over there. He's the one in charge now since, well, Sergey is gone and Tom is not with us anymore. They were kind of the leader three, but well, now Samuel's in charge. I don't know. It is what it is. We're doing our best to help our fellow man, so it's not like we have any beef with him.
He ought to give y'all a break. All y'all seem extremely exhausted, and that rock is extremely. Maybe I can go persuade him or something.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're more than welcome to ask him for a break. Maybe we could take up a watch duty, or even just sleep for the night. But there might be someone under here, so that's why he wants us to keep going. And I personally don't blame him. But there is the fact that we're all quite tired. Maybe there's also another better way to physics or magic or something to get this thing off. I don't know. You can talk to him. I usually keep my mouth shut when it comes to giving my advice about things I don't know nothing about.
Well, first of all I can give you advice for, buddy, is wait, first the dude's name.
He says, well, my name's Brass. It's nice to meet you, Chrysanthemum.
Bryce, here's a piece of advice.
I'm all ears.
Grow a pair and never, be afraid to ask for help. And second of all, I'm gonna go ask him if he can switch y'all out with some other people who are a little more capable at the moment of helping. All right, so y'all can get a little break, maybe get a 3-hour nap in or something.
Thanks. As far as asking for help, this is the army. We don't do that kind of thing here. We do what we're told and nothing more. Or at least we don't complain to our supervisors that they're doing their job badly. That's how you get yourself in trouble. But I appreciate the advice.
A little trouble never hurt anyone.
Yeah. Well, good luck with asking. I'll just be sitting here for a bit until he either yells at us to go take a nap or to try lifting this thing again. And if you got any ideas on how to lift this more efficiently, I'm all ears as well.
See, that's what I'm trying to decide between whether or not I'm going to have her go talk to the guy and have her rotate out these worn out guys for some guys who are a little more physically capable, figure out a way to more easily lift the rock.
Mm-hmm.
They have no access to magic, probably no access to tools to really break the rock.
Mm-hmm.
So really the best option would be...
I mean, they might have access to magic. You haven't asked around. But it doesn't seem like they're equipped, like each individual soldier doesn't seem like they're equipped with anything that resembles magic.
I guess best thing would be to ask Samuel, like, hey, do y'all have any magic? If not, can we switch out these dudes?
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna go back up and talk to Samuel?
Yeah.
Okie doke.
I'm gonna mosey on over there.
Alright. As you walk over, he kinda looks to you and he's like, well, see, it wasn't enough, I guess.
No, in hindsight, I probably should have gone and grabbed the torches, but, me being me, I always want to be a more helpful nature. Y'all wouldn't happen to have any sort of device or any kind of thing to, that's magical that could help lift this boulder?
Honey, if we had that, don't you think I would have used that by now?
Well, I just had to make sure.
Fair enough. People coming in here telling me I know how to do my job. Sorry.
Right. Sorry, didn't mean to damage you there. Anyways.
I think I had a different voice for him when I did this character list.
So, any chance y'all could probably switch out your men that you have down here with guys from up there who are probably a little more physically capable of lifting this rock right now. These guys have been working here for hours, from what I can tell, and they're absolutely exhausted. They're at their breaking point. Don't you think you should, switch them out, rotate them, give these guys a break?
Everyone's at their breaking point. I'm at my breaking point. I've been working here for a bit too, and
You've been standing here watching them.
Alright, you've been here all of 2 minutes, and what, you think you know the whole story of what's been happening down here? Sorry, I keep slipping into the southern... I'm doing the same voice for everyone. I'm trying to give this guy, like, an old guy voice, because that's what I did last time. But I don't want to be, like, obnoxious, because I've got other people around.
Well, I've done here more in 2 minutes here than you've done in 3 hours, so...
All you've done is cause my guys to drop the rope and lose what progress we had. That's all I know. I'm doing the voice again.
Exhausted.
Well, you know what?
Buddy,
maybe
I came down here to offer my assistance, but you know what? If you're not gonna listen, there's not much I can do for you.
Yeah, he was about to be like, "Oh, well, you know what? You can just leave if you don't want to help." She said it first.
Well, I just go offer my assistance somewhere else.
Well, yeah, you're welcome to. Apologies.
Right. Did she storm job?
All right. And
to go help people up at the top, if anything that she can do up there, I guess.
All right, back to work, boys. We're gonna try to lift this thing again. And he's like directing them to grab the ropes again. Come on, and stepping forward to take the place that you left behind. And the tired guys are just like, oh, okay.
You know what? I really can't stand seeing these poor guys, in pain like this. You really ought to let them have a break. I mean, look at them. Their hands are bloodied from the rope burns. Their arms are just like drawn, like flopped to their sides. Huh?
I said creativity. I like it.
Oh, thank you. They're probably hungry. They're tired. They're probably sore. They just need a rest, like 5 hours at the least.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there any way, you could just, listen to me and, switch these guys out? It won't take long. It'll probably get the work done even faster if we get some stronger guys down here.
Mm-hmm. And you can see, like, a few beads of sweat on Samuel's own face as he's, like, grabbing the rope, and he kind of looks up and he's just like, roll me persuasion. I'll roll for you and then roll for him, I suppose. What's your addition on persuasion?
5.
Okay. Well, he got a natural 1. So, yay, congratulations. Fine. You're right, fine. Alright, boys. Go upstairs and get some rest. You're off for the night. I'll find some other guys to help with this project down here. Leave your lanterns, leave the torches pushed into the ground, but make sure they're not going to light the trees on fire. That would be a worse problem. And then he stands up and begins, like, shooing them along the path up to the spiral path going all the way up again. And all of them drop the ropes and begin walking back up. They seem very thankful for the chance to relax for a bit. Most of them are dragging their feet. Several of them just look like they're about to pass out, need some water or something. Yeah, they don't look like they're very happy about the work they've done, but they're definitely glad to have a break.
Yay!
Yeah, what would you like to do now? Also, roll me perception once more.
I think it was 2, let me double check. Yeah, it was.
Okay. Well, that landed on my keyboard, but it is a 19 plus 2, so that's a 21.
Oh, yay me!
So, as these guys are all kind of filing up, and the last one of them kind of like gets onto the dirt ramp going up and up and up, Samuel's still standing beside you, and he kind of shrugs and he's like, some rest could probably do me some good as well, although I'm not going to admit that. What do you plan to do?
I assume I'll just stay down here and help. Look, since I can see in the dark really well. Like I said before, I am a wood elf, so like if these guys can't really prop this rock up, at least see if there's anybody underneath there with my sight, and have some guys pull them out quickly if we can. If there's any live or dead bodies underneath this large boulder.
That's a good point. And then suddenly you hear like a thud from the bottom of the giant rock. With that 21, you could definitely hear, not really like enough to rattle the earth or anything, but there was definitely like a large from below the stone that you guys were trying to lift. Seems as though something is down there?
Dude, did you hear that?
Hear what? Oh wait, let me roll a perception. Yeah, he didn't hear it. He's an old guy.
There was definitely some sort of noise underneath that rock. There's somebody under there.
Is there? And he kind of like gets down on the ground to try to like yell below, or between the rock and the dirt ground. He's like, "Is someone down there? Can you hear us? Hello? Are you okay? Are you in pain? One hit for yes, two hits for no, or something." And he's just like trying to speak, and there is no response until suddenly again a bigger, even louder thud. This one the guy can definitely hear, and it seems like the entire like giant slab of rock quivers a little bit. A couple pebbles on the top of it like jump up a little bit.
I don't think that was a person.
What? What do you mean? Boom,
The rock
again.
slightly moved. There's no way if that bunch of men could even lift it. There's no way a human could lift it with just one hit like that.
I didn't see it lift.
I'm the one with the night vision here.
Okay, all right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying, what do you think it is if it's not human?
Was there anything else accompanying the creature that attacked this tower?
Well, no. It was like a giant, spooky tentacle monster. There were giant black tentacles that were like flying in the air and doing all sorts of crazy things, and then half of them became trees, and I don't know what happened here. It was kind of a mess.
The trees came from the monster.
Well, yeah, but I think they're regular trees, and he like pats a tree. It's as far as I can tell, there's nothing out of the ordinary there.
Well, there's something definitely out of the ordinary underneath that rock.
And then the rock, once again, big, even harder than last time. This time, the entire like 15 by 10 and like 3 foot or 4 foot thick giant boulder just kind of like lifts up and hits the ground again, lifting up maybe 3 or 4 inches from the ground. And this time it like actually rattles the ground. Like, you can feel the impact.
We definitely need to get out of here before something bad happens.
Yeah, definitely heard that one. Okay. We're heading up. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we gotta run up and prepare your men, because something is about to come out of that hole.
Okay, but my men are exhausted, remember, so as far as fighting, we're not exactly equipped to handle another threat, whatever this is. And he has, this guy is the leader. He's got like a machine gun kind of thing strapped to his back, and he kind of pulls it out, and he's like,
Whoa.
I'll be the one to stay here and make sure that this is taken care of. You go. We should both go up. And he begins following you towards the dirt ramp again.
Okay.
At this point, the men are probably more than halfway up, so they're kind of out of earshot for this whole thing.
Probably I'd jog up as quick as possible while still keeping like a glancing eye on the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, and then like whenever the guys get close enough, start shouting, "Run!"
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Or just like, like warn them, like, dudes, we gotta go.
We gotta go. Oh no.
We gotta go, man. It's gonna be bad.
You catch up with the exhausted guys right about toward the crest of the top. So once you're getting towards the top, it looks like the sun is basically beyond the horizon now. The sky is still like blue and like slowly darkening shades of blue. You make it to the top along with all the exhausted guys who are all like heading straight towards the barracks. Samuel's maybe 30 feet behind you, a little bit slower.
Like warn them, like, hey, something is definitely down there. We gotta get up as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get up, warn the other guys, like, hey, there's a thing down there.
There's a thing.
Probably not the exhausted dudes. It'd probably be like, hey, the rest of y'all that are able-bodied, we gotta get over here now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we gotta prepare ourselves, like, weapon up and stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not very army-oriented.
As you emerge from the pit and kind of go, hey guys, there's a problem. The guards who are standing by apparently either weren't really that aware of you going down there to begin with, or just confused as to why you're giving orders, but they kind of are like, excuse me? And they kind of put their hands on their weapons as though they're unsure whether they should draw them on you. Then, a moment later, Samuel comes up behind him and he's like, listen to what she says. We got something down there. I don't know what that is.
Well, it must be something pretty strong if it could start lifting up that rock that your 15-something men couldn't even lift.
Mm-hmm. Suddenly you hear like a giant from the bottom of the pit,
Oh.
and it kind of like echoes off the dilapidated buildings in the vicinity.
Well, in that case, she definitely draws her rapier to get ready to fight something.
Okay. Samuel also kind of turns around. He's like, "Oh, men, we might have to pull another fight today. I know you're all exhausted, but get ready." And he kind of shouts this louder than I am. I'm just trying to be quiet. So he's like kind of trying to get everyone's attention. He's like, "We might have to get ready for another fight. Warn everyone. If we have to put up a perimeter, we can." And like barking different orders, trying to organize people into different squads, telling them to get weapons and do different things and get into different formations or whatever, and preparing to point down and look at the pit, etc., etc. What would you like to do in all this chaos as men begin like grabbing gear and weapons and whatever they can as quickly as possible, yet very tiredly?
I guess just find a advantage point, like not too close to the hole, just kind of standing back like a couple feet, just like in a battle ready stance to, do a pokey pokey with the sword.
Samuel pulls together a squad of a couple people and like begins motioning for them to like block off the entrance to the spiral up the upsy daisy thing ramp. Ramp is the word I was looking for. Upsy daisy. He gets a squad of like about 6 guys to guard the entrance there, looking down with rifles, and they're kind of scanning the area amongst the many trees down at the bottom, and everything seems still and quiet for a moment. As everyone prepares, nothing really happens for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute. Nothing seems to happen. No more sounds. Everyone's just kind of biding their time, breathing heavily, unsure what's happening. What would you like to do?
I guess suggest if they have like a flare type of device, maybe toss it down the hole. So
Who are you suggesting this
just to
to?
see if there's anything going on down there.
Mhm. Well, there are still the lanterns and torches that were left down there. Not very many,
Oh
but a
yeah.
couple. The main problem is just there's a lot of foliage, like leaves and stuff in the way, which makes it kind of hard to see. You can still generally see the shape of the big rock, vaguely, but it's kind of hard to really make out any details, to be honest.
Everybody's just kind of standing around the hole, waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, we all definitely heard the giant crack sound, right?
Yeah. I know I definitely didn't make that one up since y'all reacted to it.
Okay.
I still don't think it's safe to go back down. Definitely a disadvantage. Like if they went down there, because they have the higher advantage right now.
Yeah, this is true. It seems like they're not really
There's
like.
no way to really get rid of the trees unless like you set them on fire, but that would just cause a big problem. Because that would just be a mess, and like it might, if there's people still down there, that's like a problem. So so the option would either suggest the guys go to sleep because they are exhausted, but at the same time we don't know if this thing's going to attack in the night. So I don't know, it'd be good if to like slightly provoke whatever's down there. I mean, the guys are exhausted, they would not be up for a fight, but like I said, if this thing attacks in the night, no good either way. I mean, just could wait out like for an hour and see if anything develops, if it moves more or gets more obnoxious. Maybe the soldiers who are less tired could be like sentries and just keep an eye on it while the others rest. Yeah, that might be good.
There are some soldiers that you can see standing at the entrances to dilapidated buildings and homes that have been fortified a little bit, and they're standing outside, keeping watch, it seems. They're on high alert, and they do seem tired, as well as the others, but they're not quite exhausted. Yeah, if need be, you have about 5 or 6 men that could be used for a small investigative squad or defense.
In that case, Chrissy suggests having the sentries watch the perimeter of having like 5 or 6 watch the perimeter of the crater while the rest who have been working all day go take a rest.
So you suggest this to the old guy who's in charge?
Yeah.
He's currently standing right beside you, kind of staring down into the hole. He's got his hands parked on his rifle, and he's like looking down eyes narrowed. He's been staring there for probably 2 minutes now, as you guys have all been waiting to see if anything happened. He immediately goes, "Shh! I've been through enough battles with these creatures to know that you can't just leave them alone. They engage, gotta fight them off right then. You can't just let well enough alone. We're not safe tonight." And he gestures to some of the other men who are along along the battlement, even some of the ones who are exhausted, and motions them over quietly. What do you do?
Well, first of all, old man, don't shush me. Second of all, do you even have an idea as to what's down there, or do you not know at all? You're just going off of, blind faith.
He just goes, "Whatever it is, it needs to die." And some of the men that he gestures to kind of slowly drag their feet and line up beside him. About a dozen men.
Well, do any of these guys, gestures to clearly tired men, seem like they're in any condition to fight right now?
Nope.
Because I'm pretty sure
they're not going to be in condition to fight when that thing comes up here either.
No, not exactly. I mean, we do have a few available. If it'd make you feel better, I do know how to fight, so I could stay up while the rest of these guys rest. I know I'm not compared to 10 men, but still, I could help while these guys rest. So hopefully they can get enough rest to be able to fight this thing if it does come up within, I don't know, let's say 2 hours.
Well, look, lady, I appreciate your willingness to help, but I don't know who you are, and I don't know when you got permission to start giving orders here to my men. I'm going to go ahead down there with my men and at least check things out. If you'd like to make yourself useful, you can join us, or you can remain here. Whatever you prefer.
If you like to make yourself useful. All right.
This guy is... I mean, you could roll a persuasion check if you'd like to try to change his mind.
Hold up, I gotta check where my thing is again. Use my womanly charms. Oh, but these guys are so tired. Don't they look exhausted? You sure do too, big boy.
Oh my gosh. He's gonna respond way worse to that than if you had just...
I'm not actually sarcastic. And oh my goodness, those bags under your eyes don't look attractive at all. Maybe if you get enough sleep, all the ladies would just be swooning over you.
Oh, I hate this.
No, yeah, I'll do a persuasion roll. The multiplier is 5.
So you're doing it with what you just said?
Not exactly that.
Because if you did that, I'm gonna have you give you disadvantage.
Yeah, no. No. Well, I think it'd be better if the guys would rest, because I think, and you as well, you can have one of your other higher ups watch over everything with the rest of the men here that aren't as exhausted. Give y'all at least, 5 hours rest, and come back and see if everything's good. If something bad happens, we'll call y'all out.
All right, roll for it. 9 plus 5 is 14. Unfortunately, he rolled a 16. So
darn.
Yeah, he definitely sees the logic of your argument. He definitely feels that he is tired, and he knows that his men are extremely exhausted as well. But it seems like he feels like he has no choice, and he just kind of grunts and rolls his eyes, motions to his men to quietly begin moving, and he himself begins leading the trek down along the sloped ramp of dirt into the crater.
Well, reluctantly, I'm gonna roll my eyes and just kind of throw my head back and go, ugh. Just follow behind and just trail behind them by a couple of feet, just to help and keep watch.
Are you
Might as well help them if something bad happens, because if I don't go down there, then clearly these guys are gonna get their butts whooped and die if something happens. So I'll go with them reluctantly.
Sounds good. And there are a dozen soldiers in not exactly perfect lines, not like marching order or whatever, but they're following in 2 lines of 6 people, following behind the commander guy, and the old guy's just kind of like gritting his teeth.
His rank is Big Jerk Face.
It is. And he's trekking down tiredly into this pit. As you guys descend back down below the level of the tree line, you reach the bottom, and it's still eerily quiet. No sound, nothing really rustling or cracking or moving. But you can see, as you approach the clearing once again, that the giant rock that was trying to be lifted earlier is snapped completely in half. And there's now a giant opening descending into darkness between the 2 halves of the rock. And
love that.
Yeah. And there's a small stump, like maybe 1.5 feet high, and like this thick in diameter, It's just kind of sitting nearby. If you remember correctly, it wasn't there before, and it is near the crater as well. What would you like to do? As the old man
How wide is the gap between the rock?
The gap is easily wide enough for two people to walk side by side, shoulder to shoulder. So it's about 4 to 5 feet. 5? Yeah, 4 or 5 feet across, and it kind of narrows as you get into it because it's like the rock was split like this. So it's kind of a wedge shape.
Okay.
But it goes. It was clearly covering like a large hole that goes far deeper underground.
Try to decide either examine the stump or suggest to have two people rappelled down with a rope into the hole where the rock is.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like it's a hole that you would need to rappel down. It just seems like it's a hole that slopes down into something like a burrow of an animal of some kind, perhaps. Is the shape of it. Not necessarily saying that it was caused by an animal, but it's like that kind of slope that descends down.
Yeah, like into a cave.
Exactly.
Okay, well, just walk into it. In that case, we could just send the whole party in.
Mm-hmm. So, as you guys are walking, the captain who's in front, kind of motions, continuing to be quiet, and motions for his men to, like, circle around and scan the area. Each of them kind of poke around, looking behind trees and stuff, and they all keep their eyes kind of focused on the entrance in case anything comes out of it. But they clear the area to make sure that nothing else is around before they await orders. What are you doing?
So, if nothing seems suspicious above ground, then I guess if old fart suggests it, just follow them down into the little slopey cave.
Mm-hmm. After a moment of checking the area, once he's satisfied and the men have kind of gathered around the entrance to the cave, the old man kind of speaks up in a hushed whisper, and he's like, "Alright, it's not normal for one of these beasts to, not show themselves and make a sneaking arrangement. This might be something we've never faced before. So, keep your wits about you. We're gonna head down there. Larry, you go up there, let everyone else know where we are, so in case something happens, we can get help. If we're not back in an hour, send some help, or call a search party or something. We're gonna go down there and see what we can find. Yeah. Any ideas for Pretty Lady? Or what's this? I was trying to think of some derogatory term. I couldn't think of anything. But Pretty Lady, sure. Sugar cakes. I don't know, something like that.
No.
Insert derogatory. I don't know.
Derogatory female term.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, after getting a hella dirty glare from Chrissy, she's like, "Well, I guess we should go down into the hole. Why don't you lead the way, Captain?"
Mm-hmm. Then you hear a high-pitched voice call out from right beside you. Hey! What's going on here? You look down to your right, and you see the stump. Still not moving, still looks like a regular stump. Just
kind of glance around for a second, look at the stump, and just kind of squat down near it and kind of poke it with my finger.
The old man immediately points.
Strange stump.
The old man immediately turns and points his gun at it. And he's like, "Don't touch that. That could be the thing that we're after." You touch the stump and you say, "What are you saying, little stump?"
Yes, it's a stump.
Hi. I'm tree number 57.
That's a good name.
Yeah. So, what you all doing down here? How's it going?
And the old man's like, should we shoot it?
No, don't shoot it, you barbarian. Man. We're down here because this hole kind of appeared out of nowhere, and all these trees started growing, and then you appeared, and then there's this big split rock. Do you have any idea what's going on and how you got down here?
Oh yeah. Well, I got down here because I was actually a clone, or like a grafting of another tree. But then that tree died. He sacrificed himself to spawn this giant forest you see around you and beat off a creature that should have been way too powerful for him to beat, but, DM magic. But yeah, I'm here now, and I was just chilling. I came back from my little treehouse thing in the sky, and now, there's this hole here. I saw a creature go down there. That's what you wanted to know, right? I didn't break that rock, if that's what you're asking.
Well, I didn't assume so, since you're quite a distance away from it, and you didn't seem like you had the branches to do so yet. But I'm sure you will one day. You'll have
Oh
some
yeah,
big,
I'll
strong
grow into a
branches.
big truck. Yeah, what you said. I like that better.
The old man is still just staring daggers at this thing, not trusting it one bit.
Did you see how big the creature is that's down there, and if
Oh
it
yeah,
seems
it's
threatening?
huge. It's real big. Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how scary?
Well, I'm a tree, so I don't get scared by things quite as much as everyone else does. But I'd give it a solid 4.
A 4?
Yeah,
Well, then again, you did say you were a tree and you weren't scared by things as easily.
yeah. I mean, it might be a 4.5. I don't know. Hey, can you lift me up? My roots are a little
But
stuck.
don't.
I've been standing here a whole 2 minutes, and my roots gotta take hold if I'm not moving around very much.
Well, don't you need to plant yourself? Isn't that how
Well,
trees grow?
Yes, but not in my particular kind of tree. I kind of want to live on the legacy of my fellow tree that was an adventurer and helped save the lives of people. I want his sacrifice to not be in vain, and I want to live up to his footsteps. I mean, 3 branch steps.
Right.
The old man immediately goes, "Do not pick up that tree. I don't know what he wants, but he's got 3 seconds before we just turn him into splinters."
Well, little tree, stump, dude, girl, thing.
Tree 57.
Tree 57. How do we know that if we don't pull you up, you actually might be the little monster that's hiding?
You don't.
You're right. I don't.
Well, I mean, you could always leave me here, and I'll be stuck here until you come back for me, and then if you need my help, you can come back later, after you see the big thing.
Well, how about this? If we go down and explore that hole, and it turns out that you're not actually attached to this creature, then I'll come back and help you, okay?
Oh, okay, that sounds like a fair trade. I'll just sit here and wonder if I can get any... Oh, there's no sunlight right now. Huh. Well, that stinks.
Good night, Myrtle Turtle. Myrtle Turtle.
Hi.
She says hi.
Myrtle Turtle. Oh, Monkey.
Are you reading something or are you making stuff up? What are you doing?
Well, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, finishing a story that we started a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there were some loose
Okay,
ends.
yeah, I
trying to
get it.
tie
I'm busy. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Little tree, sad, no sunlight. All right, so I stand up after squatting down to talk to the little dude, and I look at the grumpy fart face, and I say, well, shall we go explore this hole then?
Ugh. Fine. We're leaving 2 guards here to watch the twiggling. And Larry's already going up the dirt path to let everyone else know the situation. So you have 9 soldiers and the old guy that are still willing to head down into the cave with you. The old guy nods and gestures to the cave entrance. He's first.
Well, that's the first time you've been courteous to me since I've been here. Coward. All right, so I'll lead the way since somebody is a big baby.
Hey, if you're the first one to die, it makes my job a little easier.
Well, wouldn't that just be convenient? All right, let's carry on then, manly man.
Oh my god. So, as you approach the entrance to the cave, you see down into it, and it definitely looks like it's got, like, dirt clawed, like, in large scoops. So it's fresh dirt, not like it's been a cave that's been here for a while. You can clearly see, like, marks where the mud has been freshly, like, scraped away and to create this hole. It's mainly made of dirt. There's not really much rock creating the outer layer of this cave at this point. It's kind of wet as you're, like, walking through it. It's muddy, as I said. It's basically just kind of a slimy, unpleasant mud hole as you're going down for the first few feet. But after about 10 or 15 feet of going down into this cave, it begins to enlarge a little bit and change in texture. You suddenly are feeling stone beneath your feet, and it's like it's got large rocks embedded in the walls, and you see, instead of just fresh dirt, you also see like vines and moss growing along the walls, as though it's much older and has been the way it's been for a while. But just right ahead of you, you can see like a large crack that seems to be like stones kind of jutting out at all angles, almost as though it was a wall of some kind that has been broken through. And beyond, you see into darkness. But with your elf dark vision, you can see 60 feet ahead total, and you can see into the dim light. What would be pure darkness for the humans that are with you, holding what few torches they have. But you can see pretty far ahead, and you see what seems to be just absolute ruins of some kind of man-made structure that's long been forgotten to the erosion and decay of time. There's like vines and moss and shattered stone bits all over the floor and along the walls of the interior, which is still pretty far ahead of you guys. You can see like large craters in the wall, as though something has either like blasted the wall apart or tried to dig it out or something. You can probably see farther than any of the humans. The humans can not see the man-made structure yet. They only see the dirt at this point.
I mean, I probably explained to them like what I see ahead and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just continue walking until we run into something that seems important.
Mm-hmm. Every footstep you take, your foot sinks about an inch, maybe two, into the mud, and makes just a slight noise. I don't know if you could even hear that with the Skype noise. The men behind you are also kind of keeping their guns trained and trying to walk as quietly as possible, but making quite a bit of racket considering you're an elf and you kind of tend to be light on your feet. These men are making a complete racket compared to what you're making. And of course there's 10 of them total. So yeah, they're making a right racket as they're trying to stealthily move down this cave, keeping their guns trained on whatever might be ahead of them. The old man is just kind of looking eyes ahead, spiky buzz cut, white hair, complete with like a little scar going across his head. He's just kind of ready for whatever might be ahead of him. Meanwhile, one of the other guys, second guy in line, is holding a torch as well as his gun, a small pistol, and trying to light the way for his compatriots.
There used to be something here at one point, like maybe like an underground civilization, or maybe like a temple, or like a hidden source for like a city's like, treasures maybe, or
temple. I doubt it. Of course, this city's been ruined for a while. What would I know what's underneath it? And at this point, they're likely approaching the shattered stone wall, and you guys can enter into the crack and enter what would be the ancient building of whatever kind that has been long since buried. What do you guys do?
I guess enter the wall and just try to examine the building as best as possible.
Mm-hmm.
With their limited vision and then what vision I do have.
Mm-hmm. You enter into the man-made structure and you drop down a few feet onto the stone floor. It's uneven. The tiled floor, or the cobblestones of this tiled floor, are kind of like bumped up and down due to unsturdy foundation over the years. You can tell that there's been erosion. It's not air or watertight. But as you actually enter the room and look around, you can see a lot more detail of what this room looks like. You can see that there's shelving units nearby of what seem to be like glass bottles, books, other various items that may have been used for some kind of scientific inquiry or perhaps experimentation. You see like iron grates along the walls and occasionally some pipes that could have been used for ventilation perhaps. You see a lot of again, shattered stone remains, broken holes in the wall, mossy growths and plants. You see some scrapes along the floor that looks like they might have been used or might have been resulting in something being dragged recently. And there's also there would have been a couple other entrances to this particular room. You're in like a hallway kind of thing, but there's a couple other entrances that have just been completely blocked off by what seems to be a roof collapse. There's large stones blocking whatever doorway would have been there, but there's still one way to go directly ahead of you guys, and it leads, well, to a turn in the path to the right. The torchlight that the men have is only illuminating a 20 feet. Is for them to be able to see at least, but you can still see 60 feet away, so you've got quite the edge on terms of navigation. The men, as they're kind of stepping one at a time into this room and kind of taking a look around. Their squelches of footsteps turn into more of like hitting against stone instead of stepping into puddles. These men kind of look around, and it smells slimy, like pond scum and decay and grossness. Doesn't seem like anyone or anything has been here for a while, or at least nothing human. And yeah, it's pretty grody overall. Smells gross, looks gross. You open your mouth, you could probably taste just grossness. The old guy kind of looks around and he's like, "Oh, this place gives me the creeps. Doesn't seem natural. Alright, keep your eyes out." And he kind of takes a look around the floor. Seems like he notices the scrapes along the floor and treats those as a potential track for whatever they're seeking. Hello?
I don't know why, but my brain mega blanked out because I overthought too much.
Oh, so you're still here?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That's fine. If we need to continue this another day, we can.
Yeah, we might, because I'm just exhausted from work.
Yeah, we can do it another time.
Or we should get some sleep.
No problem. Well, have a good night.
You as well. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, see you later.